Hi, today I'd like to talk about major scales, and for some of you we've been working on these in lessons, but I want to take this to a new level. I want to look at some of our easiest major scales, and then I want to take it all the way up to what's called a theoretical major scale. So if you've ever wondered what a theoretical major scale is, you're going to find out today. So let's start off with the easiest major scale, C major. So starting with our middle finger on the 3rd fret on the A string. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now the thing to note about the major scale, or any scale for that matter, is it must have every single note. So there must be a C, a D, an E, an F, a G, an A, a B, and a C. What can vary in between each scale is whether some of those notes are sharpened or flattened. So to prove that point, let's take it to what's now the most extreme major scale, which is the C sharp major scale. And to play that, all you do is you take that pattern we just did and you move it 1 fret towards you. So now I'm on the 4th fret. But let's talk about the notes as we go through it, and you'll see that it starts to get a little bit complex. So starting off, C sharp, no problems, followed by D sharp. Okay. Now here's our first unusual note. We've got E sharp. Now what's unusual about that is normally we think of that note right there, the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, as F. But when you're playing in the key of C sharp major, that becomes an E sharp. And the reason it's an E sharp is you must have an E somewhere in the scale. So that's our E sharp. F sharp is the next note. G sharp is the next note. A sharp is the next note. So that's the 3rd fret on the 4th string. And then this note here, normally we would say that's C, right? But we haven't used a B anywhere in our scale yet. So this becomes B sharp. And then finally, of course, we're going to finish off with C sharp. So there's 2 really unusual notes in this particular scale. We had the E sharp, which was normally F, and we had the B sharp. In this case, we normally think of it as C. So in the key of C sharp major, pretty much every single note is sharpened. Now let's take this to the final extreme. Let's talk about a theoretical scale, and in this case I'm going to talk about the theoretical scale called the G sharp major scale. And you'll see why it's theoretical in just a minute. As we step through each of the notes, remember we must have we must have a G, an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, and an F, and in some cases they're going to be sharp. Let's see what happens when we apply this pattern. So starting on the E string on the 4th fret with your middle finger, that's G sharp. So good so far, G sharp. All right, next one, reaching out with the pinky, is A sharp. Sounds pretty straightforward. Okay, next we're going to have a B. So with the pattern, my finger on the 3rd string, okay, B sharp is actually C. So there's my B sharp, which we normally think of as C, that's fine. So B sharp. C sharp is right next door. We're going to have a D, so, here we go, D sharp. That's cool. And now we're going to have an E, so E sharp, which remember that E sharp is, well, we normally think of it as an F, but in this particular key, this theoretical key, it's going to be E sharp. Now here's where it gets strange, F. So if I want to play this note right here, normally we would think of that note as G. And what I've got to do is I've got to have an F in here somewhere. So I can't use my F here because I already used that in the form of it being an E sharp. And an F sharp is not the right note to use either, because that's the note that I need to finish off my scale. So really what I would need to do is take an F, sharpen it once, sharpen it twice. So it'd actually be a double sharp to get to the G. So F double sharp, yeah, it doesn't really work. And that's why this is actually called a theoretical scale. And of course, if you really wanted to finish it off, we would finish off with our G sharp right here. So it's easy to play, but it's really hard to talk through all of the notes. So that's why it's called a theoretical scale, because there's one note in there, that F, which is a double sharp. I don't even know how you'd actually write the key signature for that, which kind of messes it all up. So you won't find too much music written in G sharp major. So I hope that was useful for today. As I always say, it's great to practice this pattern for a major scale. But the real value comes in when you actually go through it and you talk through what each of the notes are. So I would always recommend talking through the notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And ultimately you want to get to the position where if somebody says to you, oh, what are all the notes in the G major scale, or what are the sharps or the flats in the G major scale, that you can just off the top of your head go, oh, well, all the notes in the G major scale are naturals except for the F sharp. Anyway, that's enough for today. Hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, see me in a lesson and we will catch up soon. Bye.